Hi everyone, it's Katie, and today I wanted to do a video about the court cards and specifically the elements that I associate with the different ranks. Now this is a video I've been wanting to make for a little while, but I was a little bit nervous, to be honest, because I know a lot of people have a lot of different feelings about the court cards, and I know that mine is definitely in the minority. But a lot of people have been asking me lately about the court cards, especially because I often mention that I see the court cards differently to a lot of people, so I just thought I'd share how I've come to understand the court cards. Now this video is not about me saying that my way is right and yours is wrong. I know there's a lot more history and traditional understanding that backs up a lot of different understandings to my own, and that's okay. But for a long time I did really struggle with the court cards, and not necessarily because I didn't get them or because they're people cards or whatever. I really struggled with them because of these elemental associations that I kept hearing about and reading about. Because when I thought about the court cards intuitively, I had a pretty solid response to which ranks corresponded with which elements, and trying to force myself out of that just was really hard. And then eventually I came across the Tarot Revealed by Paul Fenton Smith, and he actually sees the courts in the same way that I do, which was very exciting to discover. And ultimately I think that just really validated my own experience and understanding. And so since then I've just been okay with the fact that I see the court a little bit differently. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of walk you through what I associate with each rank and why. So let's start at the very beginning. The pages. The pages often I think most commonly Earth. I see a lot of people associating Earth with the pages. That just didn't make sense to me at all. For me, the pages are very much the element of air. Quite simply, I hear words like student and messenger often associated with the pages, which to me are very airy qualities. And beyond that, I just think that to me the pages are flighty and changeable and flexible, and they're inspired by different things. They're excited to learn. To me, the pages are all about new ideas, inspiration, imagination, experimenting with new concepts. I definitely think of youth and the idea of head in the clouds. That sort of stuff just really rings true for me for the pages. The next rank up is obviously our fabulous knights, and I don't think this association of mine is too far out of the box, and that is fire. I associate the knights with fire, and that is basically because to me they're passionate, exuberant, hot-headed. They're all about the adventure, the action, and that seems quite fiery to me. I think passion is also another thing that I associate quite strongly with the knights. And then on the flip side, the knights I think can be quite forceful and destructive and brash, which again are very fiery qualities and almost destructive, I think, if taken to the too far extreme. And living here in Australia with the bushfires and whatnot, I think fire for me just makes perfect sense for the knights. And also the kind of little thing that I think of when I think of the knights is hot-headedness. At least when taken to the extreme in a negative sense, that's definitely something that I think just clicks for the knights. Next is the queens, and I don't think I've heard anyone associate the queens with anything other than water. I think that's a pretty natural fit, although I would totally love to hear if you or someone else you know does associate them with a different element. I will say, however, that I don't like it when any feminine element or the queens are described as passive. I think that's ultimately a really sexist view of the queens. If I would associate them with any of those kind of words, it would be receptive. And if anyone has ever sat down and listened to someone that they love in a really difficult circumstance or anything like that, you know how difficult and exhausting and taxing being receptive can be. It's a very active process in many ways. So receptivity is definitely something I associate with the queens. Other things that I associate with the queens and water would be things like healing, intuition, nourishment, life in general. There's so many myths of life starting from, and indeed scientific understanding at the moment, we understand life on Earth to have originated from the water. A lot of myths talk about, you know, some deep dark dark sea. So definitely life and new life is something that I associate with water and the queens. And then things like emotional intelligence and awareness, self-awareness and awareness of others, awareness of our needs and the needs of others, things like that, I think are very watery and queen qualities. I think ultimately it is the kings and pages that I have a very different understanding of. They're kind of switched for me. I see the kings, obviously, our last element, as earth. I don't know, that just makes total sense to me in terms of like dominion, control, stability. All of those things are absolutely earthly qualities. Also just wealth, success. Those are other things that I associate with the kings. Security, strength, mastery, these are all very earthly qualities, I think. Then there's also for me the sense of practicality, of security and structure and authority. I do also just kind of look at the cards, and the King of Pentacles, for me, Earth of Earth, he's the one in the extreme, you know, like completely earth. He's literally covered in earth. So to me, that idea of him being Earth of Earth makes sense. And the same is true of the Page of Air. Of all the pages, he or she or they seem like they are most in the clouds. They are most up in the air. He almost looks like he's about to, like he's barely on the ground. He almost, to me, looks like he's about to go off flying with those birds. So again, just looking at the imagery, that's also something that's reaffirmed my associations for me. I do often wonder about the traditional associations and how much those are influenced by our society's elevation, the importance we place on logic, on rational thinking, on action, on being out and masculine in the world, over the more physical, mundane, practical, everyday. I do wonder how much our focus and the importance we place on the former has played in us putting that as the king, as the higher. Yeah, that's something that I've wondered about. So those are how I associate the elements with the ranks, and like I said, I know that this is a little bit different to a lot of the kind of more traditional associations, and that's okay. We all come to tarot in our own ways, and we all develop our own relationship with tarot and the cards. But I would totally, absolutely love to hear what you guys think and of the court cards, whether you want to leave that in the comments below or make your own video response. This is something that I'm really genuinely interested in. So if you have your own thoughts about the court cards, I would really like to know why. Not because you need to justify yourself to me, but because I'm genuinely curious. What is it about each rank that makes you feel like they are associated with a certain element? That would be really fascinating to know, so please share, whether that's in a video or a comment below. But that's all from me. I hope you've enjoyed this little video of me sharing how I view the court cards, and I do encourage you at the very least to explore the court cards and come to understand them on your own terms, because for many of us they are the trickier of the cards, and I think, you know, exploring them and coming to understand them on your own terms is really important, and in doing so you will come to understand them so much more deeply, and then be so much more free to follow your intuition when they come up in readings. That's been my experience anyway. But that is all from me for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you all again very soon. So much love. Bye.